So, INFJs, remember back when you were the dreamer, the healer, the one who actually thought you could change the world with your empathy and your deep vision? For years, you carried the weight of the world on your shoulders, convinced that with enough effort, things would actually change. But then, one day you wake up. You finally realize the hard truth. The world isn't going to change just because you want it to. Instead of trying to fix everything, you'll learn the most crucial lesson. You got to protect your peace first. This is when your evolution begins. The transformation from a naive idealist to a self-protecting force starts here. It's harsh, it's uncomfortable, but it's also empowering, and you'll never go back. First off, stop with the apologies for being different already. I mean, most of your life, you felt like some kind of outsider, right? You've spent years trying to, mold yourself into something you're not, desperately trying to fit into a world that just doesn't get you. You probably apologize for your quirks, your deep thinking, your oh-so-sensitive emotions. You thought being different was a flaw. But here's the punchline. You're not defective, you're unique. That's the first realization that hits you like a freaking freight train. The moment you stop apologizing for being different, everything shifts. You no longer try to hide the things that make you stand out. No more pretending to be someone you're not just to make other people comfortable. You stop shrinking yourself. You realize that trying to fit into the world's mold isn't the answer. Instead, you begin to stand tall in your truth, no longer apologizing for the very qualities that make you who you are. So, here's the kicker, right? Society's been yapping for years, telling you that being different is like a crime or something. They've trained you to stuff your feelings, dim your sparkle, and just fit in. But hey, when you stop saying sorry for existing, you're giving yourself the green light to shine in your own weird way. The stuff you thought made you a loser, turns out that's your secret sauce. Yeah, you might feel like you're on another planet sometimes, like nobody gets your act. But as you get older, you figure out you don't need everyone clapping for you. The right peeps will dig you for who you are. And the ones who don't, forget about it. What used to feel like a curse, being all sensitive, deep thinking, and keeping to yourself, is actually your superpower. You start rolling with it, and that's when you get it. Your real value is in being real. The world might not always be ready for your brilliance, but so what? Don't sweat it, so just stop. Stop saying, "My bad," for being you. Because when you do, you start drawing in the people who will love you for the real deal, not some watered-down fake version of you that you thought you had to be. And that's when life gets interesting, you know. Secondly, you come to realize you can't save everyone. Look, as an INFJ, you've always felt this urge to help others. You've spent your life trying to heal people, fix broken relationships, and carry the emotional weight of those you care about. You believed that if you just gave enough, if you loved hard enough, you could save them. But here's the harsh reality that hits you as you mature. You can't save everyone. I mean, come on. At some point, you realize that no matter how much you pour into others, some people don't want to be saved. Some people are content with their pain, their dysfunction, their toxic patterns, and nothing you do can change that. It's a hard pill to swallow, but it's also the key to your evolution. Here's where it gets intense. You can't fix someone who's not ready to heal. The more you try to save them, the more you burn yourself out. You've learned this lesson the hard way, by giving and giving until you've nothing left. You cannot heal people who aren't willing to heal themselves. So, what do you do when you realize this? You let go. You stop carrying everyone's burdens. You draw boundaries, and for the first time, you realize that it's okay to let go of toxic relationships. It's not selfish, it's survival. You get it? Look, this realization, it ain't exactly a walk in Central Park, but it's kind of liberating, you know. Instead of banging your head against a wall trying to change people who are never going to change, you start putting that energy into fixing yourself. You figure out, hey, you're not responsible for keeping everyone happy. And get this, the minute you stop trying to save everyone else, you actually start saving yourself. And here's the real kicker, right? You only got so much time and energy, and you realize you can either waste it trying to fix the unfixable, or you can use it to grow and find some peace. Nobody's going to thank you for making yourself a martyr, but when you finally start focusing on you, you might just find that peace you've been looking for. All right, listen to this one. Thirdly, am I right? Advocacy over people-pleasing. For like most of your life, you've been the chump who fights for everyone else. You're always Mr. Peacemaker, stepping in to help, to listen, to solve everyone's problems. You probably believe that if you gave enough, people would finally see your worth, that your kindness would be returned. But here's the cold, hard truth that you'll eventually face. You can no longer afford to be everyone's freaking caretaker. The moment you realize this, a huge shift happens. You stop trying to please everyone, and you start advocating for yourself. You're no longer the first sucker to volunteer to fix things for others, because you've learned the hard way that not everyone appreciates it. You've been pouring your energy into people who would take, and take, leaving you completely drained. And somewhere along the way you realize you've been doing all the giving and none of the receiving. All right, so you're done, capiche? No more playing doormat to make everyone else feel like royalty, you know? Cut it out with the whole Mr. Nice Guy routine, where you're always there to fix everyone else's problems. Start asking for what you need for once, huh? Time to draw some lines in the sand, pal. And let me tell you, it ain't selfish, it's called self-preservation. And here's the kicker, see? People are gonna treat you the way you let them. And for years, you've been laying down and letting them walk all over you, thinking if you're just nice enough, they'll finally get how great you are. But the second you start sticking up for yourself, you're teaching them a new lesson. And guess what? The ones who actually give a damn, they'll respect those boundaries. Yeah, it's a tough pill to swallow, but it's also the secret to not losing your mind. Standing up for yourself ain't selfish. It's the only way to keep your sanity and stay true to what you need. So stop waiting for a handout and start taking care of yourself already. You gotta be your own champion or you'll end up being everyone else's chump. And trust me, nobody can keep that up forever. Because newsflash, if you don't start looking out for number one, nobody else is gonna. Fourthly, the solitude awakens your power. So you always wanted to be alone, right? But you felt bad about it, because you know, society's all, hey, what's wrong with you? Why aren't you out there mingling? They make you feel like you're screwing up because you need to breathe, think, and just be. But here's the kicker. Solitude isn't loneliness, capiche? It's your damn superpower. For the longest time, maybe you felt like some kind of outcast, like you didn't fit in with the cool kids. But the truth is, you had it all wrong. You're not isolating yourself because you're broken. You're choosing solitude because that's where your strength is. It's in those quiet moments that your intuition gets sharper than a Ginsu knife. Your mind clears up. And your soul? Well, it finally finds the beat. Here's the punchline. The more you embrace your alone time, the more you realize that's where you recharge, rebuild, and get ready for the world. Others see your need for space as a weakness, or like you're dodging social events, but you see it as your way of sharpening your claws, mentally and emotionally. Look, nobody gets it till they've been there, but time alone? Never a waste. While everyone else is busy making noise, you're using that quiet to dig, to find some clarity, to figure out what you're even doing here. That's how you build your inner empire. And here's the kicker. Once you start digging the alone time, things change. You ain't scared of it anymore. It's a chance to get better. You stop needing everyone else to tell you you're okay, which, let's be honest, was making you nuts. Now, you're focused on what matters. Peace and, not devolving. So, I gotta ask, why are you even saying sorry for needing space when that's where you get your mojo? Stop running from it, and it's where you find your power. Alright, so fifthly, empathy? Yeah, that ain't a superpower anymore. It's a weakness, I'm telling you. Like, as an INFJ, empathy's always been your thing, right? You feel everyone's pain like it's your own personal sitcom of suffering. You connect with people on this deep mystical level, offering them, understanding and healing in ways that make you feel like a regular saint. But here's the punchline you eventually figure out. Empathy's a freaking double-edged sword. For years, you've worn your empathy like it's some kind of merit badge, thinking it made you better, more connected, more compassionate. But as you grow up, you start to see that your ability to feel everyone's pain is both a gift and a curse, a real two-for-one special. It enables deep connections, sure, but it also makes you vulnerable to, being overwhelmed, drained, and taken advantage of, the whole shebang. At some point, you'll learn the hard way that not everyone deserves your empathy, People will take advantage of your kindness, expecting you to carry their emotional baggage without ever giving anything back. And the worst part, they may not even realize they're doing it. You've poured your heart into them, but all you have to show for it is exhaustion and emotional depletion. That's the kicker. So, here's where the shift happens, see? You finally figure out you can't keep pouring from an empty cup, your empathy. It ain't a free-for-all, pal. It's like a precious resource, a real gem that you gotta guard with your life. You gotta protect your energy, or it's gonna get drained by these leeches who couldn't care less. You'll start setting boundaries, real, firm ones, the kind that'll make them think twice. You'll stop giving away pieces of yourself to these ingrates who don't value you, and you'll start investing that energy in people who actually reciprocate. Imagine that. It ain't about being cold or unfeeling. It's about being smart, you know? It's about realizing that not everyone deserves a VIP pass to your emotional depth. And here's the kicker, folks. You will learn to temper your empathy, to use it strategically, like a ninja. You won't give it away to every Tom, Dick, and Harry who crosses your path. Instead, you'll choose when and where to invest it. Your empathy will no longer be a weakness. It'll be a tool, a weapon, to build meaningful connections and protect your own emotional well-being. Sixthly, you've got to stop trying to be understood, all right? For most of your freaking life, you've been yearning to be understood. You felt different, like an alien, and sometimes just completely out of place. You tried explaining your thoughts, your feelings, your needs, hoping someone would finally get you. But here's the brutal truth you'll face as you mature. Nobody is ever going to fully understand you. At first, this realization hits you hard. It feels like a loss, like a betrayal, you know? You thought, if I could just explain myself better, if I could make them see me, everything would be okay. But as you grow, you begin to realize that the key to peace ain't in being understood by others, but in understanding yourself. The world isn't going to bend to your complexity. You're not a puzzle to be solved. Instead, you start to see that you don't need others to understand you. You don't need validation. You don't need constant reassurance that you matter. What truly matters is how you see yourself. Once you accept this, a weight lifts. You no longer feel the pressure to explain every nuance of your being. All right, so here's the deal. You got to quit chasing after everyone else's good opinion, you know? Stop trying to prove you're something special or apologizing for being a little off. Instead, just roll with it. Embrace the weird. You're a puzzle, a mystery, and that's where your juice comes from. The minute you stop worrying about making everyone get you, you're free, you're confident, and you're finally cool with yourself. Truth is, you were never going to be everyone's cup of tea, and that's fine. The only person who needs to truly get you is you. The sooner you wrap your head around that, the freer you become. You stop looking for the answers outside and start finding them all inside yourself. Seventhly, perfect love. Forget about it. Ain't never coming. For years you've been waiting, hoping some schmoey's gonna love you the way you've always dreamed, unconditionally, deeply, with a connection that heals all wounds, the whole shebang. You believed love, respect, validation would come from someone else. But here's the cold, hard truth, kid. You'll eventually realize nobody, and I mean nobody, is gonna love you the way you want to be loved. Yeah, painful, I know. But this is where your evolution begins. You'll start to get it, that the love you've been looking for from others is something only you can give yourself. That perfect partner, that perfect validation, they don't exist. Not in the way you imagined anyway. The love you've been searching for, it was always meant to come from within. Go figure. Alright, so here's where things get interesting, see? You stop holding your breath waiting for some schmuck to fill that empty space in your life. Nah, you gotta turn the spotlight inward, pal. You start figuring out that the real deal, the deepest kind of love, is loving yourself. All that love, respect, and acceptance you're jonesing for, forget about it showing up on a silver platter. You gotta grow that stuff yourself. You're the one who's gotta fill up your own damn cup first. And that's when it hits you like a ton of bricks. Nobody else can give you the kind of love you can give yourself. The less you lean on others for that pat on the back, the more you get what self-compassion is all about. And don't think that makes you a heartless jerk. It just makes you tough. You finally get that self-love is where it all starts. Once you got that, you ain't looking for someone to fix you because you already put yourself back together. The kicker? You ain't waiting around for someone to love you anymore. You become the love you were always looking for. And that's when the real connection starts. Not because you need someone, but because you want someone, knowing you're already whole on your own. Eighthly, from idealism to cynicism, or how I learned to stop worrying and love the game. There once was a time I tell you, when I actually bought into all that idealistic garbage about making the world a better place. Thought if I just yelled loud enough, pushed the right buttons, I could change everything, peace, love, and all that jazz. But here's the punchline, folks. Idealism, it's a setup. As you get older, and I use that term loosely, you start seeing the world for what it is. A mess. Flawed, unfair, and stuck in its ways. Ain't gonna change just because you send a strongly worded letter. So what do? You stop trying to fix the unfixable and learn to work the system. You realize you don't gotta tear it all down. You just gotta know how to play the game, see? The shift? Subtle. Like a mime at a funeral, but powerful. You stop hoping for change and start making moves. The world ain't gonna meet your expectations, no way. So you start playing dirty, using your smarts to outsmart, not outcry. Instead of screaming for fairness, you figure out how to, shall we say, persuade things to go your way. You start trusting your gut more than your fancy ideas. Outsmarting the system. That becomes the whole shebang, not changing it. And get this, you're killing it way more than when you were just some starry-eyed dreamer. Your whole take on the world, it flips. You ain't trying to get everyone to think like you no more. You see, your juice comes from calling the shots and bending the future your way, not wishing for unicorns. Now, don't get me wrong, you still got a heart and all that jazz. But you clock that the real deal ain't in dreaming, it's in playing the game. It's knowing the players, reading the room, and using that big brain of yours to make sure the house always wins. So, you ditch the whole perfect world fantasy. Instead, you start building your own little empire. And that's when it hits you. You can't fix the whole world, but you sure as heck can fix your world. And at the end of the day, ain't that the truth? Ninthly, you got to take responsibility for your own damn emotions. For years, you've been at the mercy of your feelings. Someone hurts you, and boom, it's their fault. Life throws you a curveball and suddenly you're playing the victim. You actually believe your emotions are just reactions to everyone else, like you don't have any say in it. But here's a reality check that changes everything. You're in control of your emotions, and you always have been. This realization, total game changer. You stop letting every Tom, Dick, and Harry dictate how you feel. You stop letting every little thing trigger your emotional responses. Instead, you realize those emotions are yours to own, buddy. Nobody can make you feel anything unless you let them. That's when you stop being a victim of your feelings and start taking responsibility for them. For the first time, you'll stop blaming everyone else. You'll own your emotional reactions and use them as a tool for growth. Instead of saying, you made me feel this way, you start saying, I allowed myself to feel this way. See? You stop giving away your power to anyone else's actions or words. Alright? So here's the thing. Taking responsibility for your own basket of emotions, that's like a real jailbreak, Suddenly, you're not some chump, just getting jerked around. You start to figure out that the real key to this whole emotional freedom racket is knowing that your reactions, yeah, those are on you. Like something sets you off, you actually stop for a sec, maybe figure out why, and then you just let it go. I ain't saying you got to bottle everything up, but you got to admit what you're feeling, get what's going on, and keep it moving with those feelings working for you, not holding you hostage. You ain't got to be a slave to your feelings no more. You learn how to work them, and you wind up with a kind of freedom most people just ain't ever going to get. So, I'm asking you, how long you going to let everyone else push your buttons? Time to get your hands back on the controls and decide how you're going to deal with the world, right? Because once you do that, your whole life, different. So, you're going to look back at the INFJ you used to be, right? The wide-eyed idealist, the bleeding heart, the one who gave till they were all dried up. But now, you're different, tougher, a little less clueless. You've finally stopped saying sorry for breathing, started protecting your own damn peace, started sticking up for yourself for once. You figured out that your empathy ain't a curse, it's a freaking superpower. You've learned to trust your gut, stop chasing gold stars, and, look inward for a change. You're not broken, pal, you're upgraded. You've gone from a dreamer to a doer, from some starry-eyed idealist to a freaking strategist, from a healer to a force to be reckoned with, who finally knows their own value. And trust me, you ain't gonna go back. Ready to finally take the reins? Drop a comment below and tell me which epiphany slapped you the hardest. If this hit home, smash that like button and subscribe for more insights into the INFJ glow up.